What's up guys, and welcome to Xbox On. Now, some of you may know that I'm pretty obsessed with playing shooters on my Xbox One. From first-person shooters like Call of Duty and Battlefield to third-person shooters like Fortnite and PUBG. And with E3 around the corner, myself and Lydia have taken a look at the best shooters that we'll be seeing this year, and I am very excited, so let's take a look. We'll kick things off with what's shaping up to be a very different looking Battlefield. For starters, it's set in World War II, the worldiest of all the wars, and as the hectic debut trailer shows, team play is going to be as crucial as ever. For starters, Battlefield 5 brings a dedicated 4-person co-op mode called Combined Arms, and in terms of multiplayer, there is a greater emphasis on working together within your squads. Not only will you earn squad reinforcements like the V2 rocket, which we saw at the end of the trailer, but every class will be able to revive their squad mates. So medics aren't the only ones who can revive now, although they are able to revive the fastest. There is so much more which we'll find out and see at EA Play, as we'll have the opportunity to get hands-on with the game. Battlefield 5 will also be making improvements to the hugely successful operations from Battlefield 1 with Grand Operations, which brings 64-player skirmishes across historically inspired missions. But if you've got more of a lone wolf thing going on, War Stories is also making a comeback. And if they're anything like Battlefield 1's War Stories, these series of self-contained mini-campaigns will shed light on little-seen aspects of World War II. Another addition that I'm really excited about is the brand new building mechanic where you're able to build fortifications, where you can put sandbags down to help fortify a position to change the map. The support class is also able to do it faster, as well as having some different building options for you to use. So if you want to build the best fortifications, use the support class. And with Battlefield being a series known for environmental destruction, it's nice to do a reverse of that and actually put up fortifications for a change, rather than knocking them down. But we'll be finding out a lot more at EA Play and bringing you gameplay right here on Xbox On, so do make sure to hit that subscribe button and let us know what you think down in the comments.
Get ready to feel very angry, as Rage 2 promises to show more of itself at this year's E3. This post-apocalyptic open-world first-person shooter is in development by ID Software, along with Avalanche Studios, who brought us the off-the-wall fun of the Just Cause series. You just know that means the apocalyptic wasteland that you call home will be an amazing, albeit incredibly dangerous world to explore. You'll play the part of Walker, one of the rangers of the wasteland, who has had his home robbed and taken by the Authority, aka the bad guys from the first game. Walker's not putting up with this kind of shoddy treatment though, as he tears through the wasteland to seek vengeance and end the Authority's oppression. We can't wait to find out more about the gameplay, but what we do know is we can expect heavily customizable vehicle combat, wider customization of guns, and plenty of mutants to take down along the way. Buckle in, it's going to be a wild ride.
From Crysis developer Crytek comes this incredibly tense first-person survival horror that contains probably the creepiest spiders I've ever seen. That's just one of the many hideous enemies here, and the idea is you buddy up with a partner and go on bounty hunts across several large levels. But what's cool about Hunt Showdown is that other bounty hunters are doing their thing in the level with you, and they're competing with you for all those juicy bounties. So not only do you have to watch out for those friggin' spiders, but some very dangerous people too. The multiplayer adds a great dynamic to the game though, like do you quickly rush over to a bounty and try to do it first, or hide in a hut and ambush another team as they arrive? Do you forget about the bounties altogether and just hunt everyone else? One thing is clear, if they give me a chance to screw over my teammate, I'm totally going to do that. That's not even an issue for me.
Let's move the action along to 2036 now, where Metro Exodus takes us to a post-apocalyptic Earth that has been ruined by nuclear devastation. War is bad, kids. Fans of previous entries in the series will be happy to know Exodus carries on where Metro Last Light left off. You'll be taking the role of Artyom, who is fleeing the tight confines of the Metro in Moscow to explore the wider world. The story takes place over a year, so get ready for season-changing, continent-spanning action. So what about the combat? Well, how do you feel about mutated creatures? Hopefully you feel very against them and want to purge the world of them, as they'll be constantly going for your throat in Exodus. You'll need to look elsewhere for a mutated creature cuddling sim. Don't worry about fending them off though, as your arsenal of handmade weaponry will help keep them at bay. Especially as you can customize your weapons using materials that you scavenge for using its complex crafting system. With the promise of a dynamic weather system, day-night cycles, and interesting environments, we can't wait to find out more about this complex shooter.
A shooter that absolutely blew me away at the Xbox conference last year has got to be Anthem from BioWare. This is a game that I just can't wait to see more of at E3, just to see what we'll be getting our hands on next year, because it looks awesome. And for those of you that haven't heard much of Anthem, it's an open world action RPG which is the same genre as Destiny, but is in third person perspective. And from what we know so far, you'll be able to play with up to 4 other players in the open world using a range of exosuits called Javelins. We saw a couple different suits in last year's gameplay demo: the Ranger, who is a bit of an all-rounder, and the Colossus, who is a bit more heavily armoured and worked as more of a tank. But if that demo is anything to go by, we're in for a real treat, and Anthem is going to be a game that is definitely worth keeping an eye on this E3, especially with that transition from flying in the sky to going underwater to avoid gunfire before jumping out on them at close range. I cannot wait.
I cannot get enough of zombies. I mean, at a distance, because they're kind of gross. So I'm mega excited for The Walking Dead. It's a 4-player co-op shooter based in the Walking Dead universe, but not necessarily tied to the popular TV show or graphic novel, where you try and survive in a post-apocalyptic Washington DC overrun with hungry corpses. There are a variety of missions and raids you can go on, such as securing supplies and recruiting survivors to strengthen your base camp. Enemies out here aren't just undead, but pre-dead too. And by pre-dead, I mean living. In other words, people. They are the worst. But the good guys, aka you, have their own skill trees, squad roles, playstyles, and backstories, which I'm sure will make it extra painful when any of them inevitably die. Overkill is the developer behind Payday, and they're so good they got their name in the title. Expect a lived-in world, 3-dimensional characters, and some truly gross zombie gore. But we'll find out some more come E3.
The 2016 original sold more on the first day than any Ubisoft game in history, so a sequel was always a no-brainer. But what form that sequel will take, we don't yet know. I mean, it could be set in New York again and explore the continuing fallout from the deadly Black Friday smallpox pandemic. It's such a rich environment, and we only saw the downtown section. So what about if we were allowed to have shootouts in other boroughs, or venture into the suburbs for a bit of looting? Heading outside the city and into people's homes would allow Ubisoft to tell a more personal story of survivors and their struggles, which is something the first game made initial strides for in the whole developing your base of operations and attracting more people thing. An extensive cast of meaningful characters would really help elevate the Division 2. And hey, if we're talking wish lists, I would love to see an even larger map and more destructible scenery. This game runs on an updated version of the impressive Snowdrop engine, so it's definitely possible, especially given this might be one of the biggest Ubisoft productions of all time. The original developer Massive Entertainment is working alongside Red Storm Entertainment and a number of Ubisoft studios, including Reflections, Anani, Shanghai, and Bucharest. So this will be one of the best shooters of 2018.
If you're looking for a shooter which is as hard as the very bullets you'll be spraying, then keep an eye out for Insurgency. One of its most defining characteristics is its hardcore gameplay. Unlike other first-person shooters, Insurgency has a more realistic approach. All guns instantly kill when shot to the head. Plus, there's a lack of virtual crosshairs and a very simple HUD. This game will not hold your hand when times get tough. Insurgency is all about its different game modes, with a total of 9 online and 5 co-op modes. From Ambush, which consists of escorting a VIP to an end location whilst the other team tries to put an end to your party, to Survival, where you take on increasingly difficult waves of security forces. Whatever style of gameplay you prefer, there's likely to be a mode for it in Insurgency. Just remember to keep your wits about you. This isn't going to be a walk in the park.
In May, we saw the unveiling of Black Ops 4, the follow-up to 2015's Black Ops 3 by Treyarch. Now, first things first, this is the first Call of Duty which is without a single-player campaign. However, we've been promised some pretty awesome stuff in its place with a brand new Battle Royale mode. Now, that mode is called Blackout, which is going to bring the traditional Call of Duty Black Ops gameplay to Battle Royale, which I am so excited about, coupled with the biggest map ever featured in a Call of Duty game, which is around 1,200 times larger than Nuketown. You'll be able to use land, sea, and air vehicles to come out on top in this nail-biting fight to stay alive. You'll also be able to play as characters from the entire Black Ops series, including zombie characters, so fans of the series have a treat in store for them. Speaking of which, zombies, and of course multiplayer mode will be returning to Black Ops 4. With zombies seeing a wider range of customization in playstyles, we've been promised over 100 variables such as zombie speed, health, damage, and more. Black Ops 4 is also the first game to feature 2 separate storylines for zombies, so more maps, so fans of the mode and hunting for Easter eggs are in for some fresh, exciting changes. We'll also most definitely have the opportunity to see some more multiplayer gameplay after their initial reveal in May, which I personally cannot wait to get my hands on at E3, so bring it on.
Want another apocalyptic event? Then you are watching the right video. Warhammer Vermintide 2, the sequel to Warhammer End Times Vermintide, takes place during the early days of the End of Times. What is the End of Times, you ask? Well, you guessed it. It's an apocalyptic event that eventually ended in the destruction of the Warhammer world. Warhammer Vermintide 2 has already seen a PC release with huge amounts of critical praise. The hard-hitting weapons and combat gameplay, coupled with the gorgeous levels, makes for a compelling combination. Fans of the Warhammer world will find this an instant classic, and fantasy game fans will absolutely need to check this out too. We can't wait to get an Xbox One release date locked down soon.
From one zombie game to another, World War Z is a completely different kind of undead experience. This time based in the universe of the film and graphic novel, though you won't find a shaggy-haired Brad Pitt here, but what you will find is 4-player co-op action set in missions across multiple continents. So in World War Z, you'll be able to head to the likes of New York, Moscow, and Jerusalem on the hunt for a cure to the global pandemic. It's not just firearms you'll use against the relentless hordes of undead, but traps, barriers, and a touch of environmental strategy. Developer Saber Interactive has said this will be a fast-paced and gruesome experience. But as long as I get to see 1,000 zombies form into a big ladder and swat a chopper out the sky, like in the film, I'll be happy.
If you're looking for a shooter which is a little different from your average AK-47, then make sure to keep an eye out for Deep Rock Galactic. Ever wondered what it's like to be a dwarf who has to mine for precious materials? Well, wonder no more, my friend. Deep Rock Galactic sees you exploring Hoxis 4, a planet with the highest concentration of valuable minerals ever discovered. Of course, nothing is ever simple, and the planet is also host to plenty of hostile creatures and fauna who aren't happy with you pinching their stuff. There's 4 unique classes, and picking the right character for you is key. Will you mow through enemies as a gunner? Or maybe scout ahead and light up caves as the scout? Or you could plow straight through rock as the driller, or support your teammates with structures and turrets as the engineer. Deep Rock Galactic has 4-player co-op, so choosing the right team is integral. It's up to you all to work together and support each other through your mission. Work your way through a procedurally generated cave network, destroying the environment as you go with a host of brutal weapons, such as flamethrowers, Gatling guns, and portable platform launchers. Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs are definitely undersold digging for me. Bring on more news about Deep Rock Galactic this E3.
So there we have it, some of the best shooters we're going to be seeing at E3. I cannot wait to get my hands on them. Subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our E3 coverage. Drop a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and let us know which game you're most looking forward to down in the comments below. And we'll see you next time. Bye!